CNN News Center with Aisha Sasay. Next on CNN.
It was huge.
Dozens of terrifying tornadoes flatten homes and claim lives in the U.S. Midwest and Central Plains.
Just gone. Like you took the house, you put it in a gigantic blender, you turned it on pulse for a couple minutes, and then you just dumped it out.
And while some try to restart their lives, the worst may be yet to come. Also ahead.
She couldn't play or walk or talk. She would get so tired. She couldn't indulge in anything.
A young Syrian child who escaped a civil war but still in danger of dying.
You have in the house 2 pumps. She has only one that is working.
The remarkable story of where she got help, and later.
It was like an out-of-body experience.
Conquering the world's tallest mountain is a feat in itself, but one climber is making history.
I was standing on top of the world. It was unbelievable, really.
CNN News Center starts right now. Hello everyone. A violent and deadly string of attacks strike Iraq, heightening tensions between Sunnis and Shiites. Shootings and a series of car bombs killed more than 50 people, with most of the attacks taking place in Baghdad. 8 car bombs exploded there, targeting predominantly Shiite neighborhoods. It is not clear who is behind it all. Mohammed Jamjim spoke earlier about the sectarian violence.
Right now, sectarian tensions growing immensely throughout that country. One of the reasons is because Sunnis there feel aggrieved, they're upset, they feel they're
Fighting across the country today. A meeting at the White House is underway that many would not have expected to see so soon. Myanmar's President Thein Sein is at the White House at the invitation of President Barack Obama. As the two countries seek to further normalize relations and expand economic ties, the talks were expected to be wide-ranging. But there are critics here in the United States Congress and beyond who warn it is too soon. CNN's Christiane Amanpour spoke exclusively with President Sein.
You must be amazed at the speed with which relations with the United States are improving. I mean, it wasn't many years ago that you were enemy number 1 for the United States. This is incredible.
I have to agree. I myself am amazed at the speed of the improvement of our bilateral relations. But there are no permanent friends or permanent foes in international relations.
Yes, that's a famous saying.
Well, you can see a replay of Christiane's exclusive interview with President Sein Tuesday at 1100 in London. Okay, well, another top football team is losing its leader. This is the 3rd major personnel announcement in professional football in less than a fortnight. A little over an hour ago, Real Madrid, soccer's biggest money-making club, confirmed what many fans have suspected all weekend. Coach Jose Mourinho, that man on your screens, will indeed leave at the end of the season. Well, sport anchor Don Riddell is becoming a regular now on News Center. Joins me. Don, not much of a surprise that Mourinho's leaving, but help me understand why. Why is he out?
Well, it's not gone terribly well for him or Real Madrid during his last 3 years. Yes, he did deliver La Liga title last year, but they ended this season with nothing. Jose Mourinho described it as the worst season he's ever had as a manager. He said it was horrific. And I think the manner in which they lost the Kings Cup final to Atletico, their big city rivals, on Friday, with Mourinho being sent off from the touchline in that game, I think that ended it for everybody. And in the end, it's by mutual consent or mutual contempt.
So not fired, to be clear.
Exactly. And the club president, Florentino Perez, was very clear on that. He was actually contracted for another 3 years until 2016, but I think it's better for both parties at this point that they both just wash their hands and move on.
Had he lost support of the dressing room?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I could give you a very long list of players that he'd upset and fallen out with. It would be much easier to say who he still had on side. It's a very short list. Notably, the goalkeeper, Iker Casillas, who he dropped in December. It won't go unnoticed that it's actually Casillas' birthday today, so I'm sure he'll be enjoying seeing the back of Jose Mourinho.
Where do we think he will turn up next? The speculation is Chelsea.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's going to be Chelsea. He, of course, managed there very successfully a few years ago. He is still loved at Stamford Bridge. He's their most successful manager ever, delivering 2 Premier League titles and the FA Cup. And they've really had a job filling his position ever since he left. I mean, Hiddink, Ancelotti, Di Matteo, Benitez, Avram Grant, Scolari, Villas-Boas, those are all the managers they've had.
They've been through a ton.
They have, so they will welcome him back with open arms. And I think it's a great time for him to be going back because the teams above Chelsea in the Premier League, Manchester United and Manchester City, both have changed their managers. Could be a great time for him to walk back in with Chelsea. They're a good squad. He could be very successful immediately.
They love Jose.
They do.
They do. Don Rodello, it was a pleasure. Thank you. You're watching CNN News Center. Cementing a deal worth more than $1 billion. We'll look at the woman shaking things up and we'll tell you what promise she is making. And finding a lifeline in the most unexpected place for one girl, escaping the war in Syria was not simply enough to stay alive. Stay with us.
Open Court, in association with RADA.
Roland Garros crown.
I've always thought of the French Open as a mysterious tournament where you find a champion that is maybe not exactly the favorite going into that event or not the ultimate pick for everyone, and maybe the underdog comes through a bit.
The French Open win kicked off a banner year that saw Sharapova briefly regain the world #1 ranking, win a silver medal for Russia at the London Olympics, and be named Forbes' most successful female athlete.
You know, who knows what the future will bring me, and who knows what I may add to that list. But so far I can say that, yeah, I'm pretty fortunate to be one of the few that has achieved that.
You're watching CNN News Center. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Aisha Sasay at CNN's International Desk. This is our command center for our teams right around the world, and we are keeping close eyes on a big acquisition for Yahoo today. You may have heard the big news today that they are buying the blogging site Tumblr for $1.1 billion. Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer calls the deal, quote, a game changer for Yahoo, and she offered a most intriguing promise in a conference call announcing the move. Take a listen.
Looking beyond the numbers, we're even more excited about the long-term growth opportunities this deal brings to Tumblr, Yahoo, and most importantly, to our collective users. Along those lines, I'd like to emphasize that while we are acquiring Tumblr, we're making a sincere promise to not screw it up.
Interesting choice of words there. So what do investors think about all of that? Here's a look at Yahoo stock. As you see there on your screens, up about 0.5% today. And Felicia Taylor joins me from New York with much more on all of this. Felicia, good to have you with us. Buying Tumblr, how big a gamble is this for Marissa Mayer?
It really is a bit of a gamble for her because honestly, this is a pretty pricey tag to put on a company that really hasn't been around for very long and only has, you know, a revenue of about $13 million a year. So paying over $1 billion is quite hefty. But what she's investing in is the audience that Tumblr has. It's not necessarily the audience that Yahoo has. What Tumblr has is a much younger skewed, sort of like 18 to 24, 24 to 30. So that's what she's investing in. She's also betting on David Karp because he's considered to be somewhat of a tech genius. I mean, he started this company in his living room at age 21. It's only 6 or 7 years old. Obviously, he's got an enormous following. I think it was 117 million unique users just in the month of April alone. So that's what she's betting on, is the audience. You know, the content it's a blogging website. I mean, and that's what it is. So the content can go any which way it wants to. I mean, that's not something that she's going to be able to edit or control, and she's said that she's not planning to do so. But what's interesting about this is I don't know how necessarily it's going to make money. I mean, David Karp has come out and said that, quote, literally, profitability is not important to Karp. So, you know, when it comes to advertising possibly on the blogging website, she said that she's not going to do that. She's not going to change it. As you pointed out, she has, quote, said she's not going to screw it up. Yahoo has a reputation for literally killing startups. It acquired Broadcast.com for over $5 billion, almost $6 billion. It acquired GeoCities for over $3.5 billion, and none of those sites worked out. She's only spending a fifth of what they've got in their cash sort of stash. So it's not that bad in terms of what they've got, but nevertheless, $1 billion is a lot of money for Mr. Karp.
It's a lot
He's
of
the
money.
winner in this one.
He really is. At 21, what were we doing with our lives at 21, Felicia? We'll give it some thought.
I could think of a few things.
Okay, we'll pick that up offline. Thanks, Felicia. Let's return now to watching CNN News Center coming up.
I really hope they can step out of their comfort zone and just dream, try to push your limits.
One woman making history. That story is next.
Human to Hero, in association with Nikon.
Mubarak's home country. She's not even allowed to drive, but it was her inner drive on display this weekend. She became the first Saudi woman to conquer the world's highest mountain. Mubarak is part of a climbing team called Arabs with Attitude that reached the summit of Mount Everest. Relisa Vasilva has more on her remarkable achievement.
Top of the world, a snapshot for the history books. The moment Raha Mubarak became the first Saudi woman to reach the summit of Mount Everest.
It was absolutely surreal. It was really windy, and it was like an out-of-body experience. I felt like I was in an episode of a National Geographic or Discovery Channel. I couldn't believe it. I was standing on top of the world.
The icy winds on the summit, a world away from the boiling hot desert sun of Saudi Arabia, making Mubarak's achievement even more incredible. The 27-year-old Dubai-based graduate is also the youngest Arab to make it to the summit.
It was very, very windy, so unfortunately it was just a moment on the summit. Took the picture, celebrated with the team, and came back down. It was extremely windy, and for me, I'm not used to that amount of cold from where I come from.
Reaching Everest meant breaking through barriers in her native Saudi Arabia, where women's rights are restricted. The 27-year-old graphic designer says getting her family to support her dream was just as hard as summiting Everest. But the Jeddah native hopes her achievement is more than a personal high.
It doesn't have to be a mountain, it doesn't have to be climbing. It's just, I hope to change people's opinion about Saudi in general and Saudi women, and Saudi women's opinion about themselves. I really hope they can step out of their comfort zone and just dream, try to push your limits.
Some Saudi women are already pushing barriers at home. For the first time, Saudi women competed in the 2012 Olympics. And now, another mountain has been climbed. Relisa Vasilva, CNN, Atlanta.
Off center now. It was a tough evening for two artists at the Billboard Music Awards last night. First, the Biebs just can't seem to get any respect. Accepting the Milestone Award, Justin got a mixed reaction from the audience.
I'm 19 years old. I'm 19 years old. I think I'm doing a pretty good job.
Oh dear. He went on to tell the crowd that he's an artist and should be taken seriously. He's so adorable. And then there was this from Miguel. Brace yourselves, folks. Yikes. Promoters say no fans were hurt, and obviously Miguel wasn't hurt, and he got a cushioned landing. But I'm guessing that part of the routine might be changed. You might want to consider that. What a night. You're watching CNN News Center. I'm Aisha Sasay, live at CNN World Headquarters. Thank you for joining me right here on CNN.
Understand the world around them. People are starved for news about the world and context about the world. The show is able to appeal to people at every level.
Fareed Zakaria GPS, Sunday on CNN. Get ready. Only 2 years after the fall of Gaddafi, Anthony Bourdain goes inside Libya. And although conflict remains,
the top and are today's leading women, inspiring individuals, sharing their insights on CNN. This month, straight talk from two powerful CEOs.
Sometimes what you don't want to hear is exactly what you need to hear.
Join Ellen Coleman of DuPont and Jasmine Whitbread of Save the Children. Leading Women, Wednesday on CNN.